Well, it's that time of year again. Light your log fires, put your tree up and roast your chestnuts, 'cause it's Christmas. And I like to sit down and indulge on my favourite Christmas film, like a fat person scoffing 10 pounds of chocolate cake. No, not It's a Wonderful Life, or Home Alone, or even Miracle on 34th Street. Not Christmassy enough for me. It's Die Hard. Fuck yes. Nothing captures the spirit of Christmas more than killing a load of German douchebags and blowing shit up with Uzis than Die Hard. It's the quintessential Christmas movie. So let's get into this one. So the movie begins with our main protagonist, John McClane, played by Bruce Willis. He's on a flight for LA to meet his estranged wife Holly at her Christmas party at Nakatomi Towers. He's extremely nervous of flying, so some creepy foot fetishist guy tells him to get off the plane, take off his socks and make fists with his toes. What the fuck? After that little scene's over, we cut to John in the airport entrance hall where he lights up a smoke, indoors, how times have changed, and he waits for his ride to go to the tower. We see that all the staff are having a very large Christmas function to celebrate how much money they've made for the financial year. It's here we're introduced to John McClane's wife Holly, played by Bonnie Bedelia, and pure cokehead Ellis, played by Hart Brockner. After a quick call home to see if John's landed, or even arrived, Holly is told that he has not yet shown up yet, which pisses her off a bit. After getting in the limo provided by Holly's firm and conversing with Argyle, the limo driver, played by Devereaux White, we learn Holly's job turned into a career and she moved from New York to LA to pursue it. This has pissed John off something rotten, as he does miss her and he feels like his marriage might be going down the tube. Argyle then proceeds to bang out some sweet ass tunes with his awesome 80s tape player.
Hey, that'll work. You got any Christmas music? This is Christmas music.
It was December 24th on Hollis Avenue, the dark, when I seen a man chilling with his dog in the park. I approached him very slowly with my heart full of fear. Looked at his dog, oh my God, a ill reindeer.
We arrive at Nakatomi Plaza, which was actually the 20th Century Fox building, which hadn't opened at the time. Pointless trivia there for you if you're at all interested. John arrives at the party. He searches around for his missus, but instead runs into a guy who is a little bit touchy-feely.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
Jesus. Fucking California.
Holly's boss, Joe Takagi, drops John off at Holly's office to wait. Ellis is at her desk snorting some high-class A-grade gear. He's established in record time that he will be the douchebag for the movie and the guy that you're desperate to see get it. But patience is a virtue, guys. So Holly arrives and John's instantly happy to see her. They have a bit of a chat and John causes an argument stating that Holly upped and left him and the kids in New York City. Her argument is that she had a great opportunity and she had to take it. John then brings up the fact that she changed her name to Gennaro rather than stick with McClane, to which her argument is that a Japanese company wouldn't like a married woman with the baggage of kids. Yeah, there's a lot of arguments in this movie. So here our bad guys roll up. Carl, played by Alexander Goodenough, and Theo, played by Clarence Gilroyd. They quickly and efficiently disperse of the lobby's security, slowly seizing control of the building. So the rest of the goons arrive in a truck. Pretty standard bunch of 80s goons, apart from the terrorist leader Hans Gruber, played by Alan Rickman. The smoothest criminal ever. He makes a baby's arse seem like 80 grit sandpaper by comparison. He's well dressed and presented, intelligent, cold and calculating, but also quite charming when he wants to be. To him it's just business. Gruber and his men soon take control of the Nakatomi building, sealing off all elevators and exit, and rounds up all the hostages on the 30th floor. John, however, escapes into a stairwell and seeks means to communicate with the outside world. However, lines have been cut. Gruber requires Holly's boss, Takagi, to give a password for the vault containing $640 million in negotiable bearer bonds. Failing to do so, Mr. Takagi chooses the hard way and deprives us of his company. Technical expert Theo is now tasked with cracking the building's vault. Meanwhile, John activates a fire alarm which draws the attention of one of the terrorists. He incapacitates the thug, taking his gun, his walkie-talkie, and more importantly his pack of smokes. After sending a message to Hans and his men, McClane makes his way to the roof to call for help. After explaining he wants thick crust on his meat feast pizza, he gets in a gunfight with Carl, whose brother John had just killed. Escaping through the elevator shaft, John narrowly avoids capture by hiding in an air vent.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
Sergeant Al Powell of the LAPD is sent to investigate the calls for help from the building and heads in to check it out. Satisfied all is fine, Al decides to leave. Meanwhile, John's killed 2 more thugs and by now is pulling his hair out for help. Must be why Willis's hair progressively disappears through the sequels. He throws Marco out the window, landing slap bang on Al's car. So now, finally, the LAPD arrive and begin trying to establish what exactly is happening inside the plaza. Gruber begins to calm his men down, explaining that police action and knowledge to the situation was necessary, but they do need to get the detonators back from McClane. It's here we're introduced to Police Chief Dwayne T. Robinson, played by Paul Gleason, who is just a pain in the arse from the outset. Many fans have been divided about this character. While some enjoy his attitude and constant attacks on John, claiming him to be one of the bad guys, trying to hold him responsible for property damage, and even moaning about being sprayed with glass, others seemingly took to him as comic relief, and he does get his just desserts in the end. Dwayne sends the LA SWAT team to infiltrate the building and retake control. They are, however, swiftly gunned down, and their backup plan is an armoured vehicle is all but destroyed by Gruber's men using fucking rocket launchers. Oh yeah. John meanwhile throws some of the C4 down the elevator shaft to put out the flames on the SWAT vehicle before the men inside cook like Christmas turkey, but he also kills 2 more terrorists in the process. After some bro banter over the radio with Al, Gruber learns with the help of Ellis that John is in fact a New York Police Department officer, and Ellis believes he can make John surrender to Hans. After realising coke can only inflate your ego so much and is no match for a smiling German with a bullet, Ellis checks out of the film due to a severe migraine. With the situation escalating beyond the PD's control, FBI agents Black Johnson and Robert Davi Johnson, played by Robert Davi and Grandel Bush, arrive and take command of the operation. Here also covering the news reports is Richard Thornburg, or William Atherton. Another pain in the arse character who just seems to be making this situation more harder and unbearable for John McClane and the police officers around him. However, you know, love him or hate him, he's in the movie and, you know, he plays his part well. Carl is tasked by Hans to hunt down and kill John McClane. Hans goes off to check the explosives placed earlier on the roof and runs into John. Hans Gruber here puts on his best American accent, or something to that effect, claiming to be a hostage who escaped capture and is looking for a way out. John states, "Stick with me and you'll be a proper American." Chatting during another smoke break, McClane is skeptical of his new friend but gives him a gun for protection. Revealing himself as Hans Gruber, Hans demands to know where the detonators is that John's got. However, with the gun empty, Carl and some more goons arrive and we have yet another awesome kick-ass gunfight with plenty of bad German accents and lots of bloody glass. John escapes, moonwalking his way across the floor, slicing his feet for his troubles, and Hans gets his detonators back and the plan's back on. After removing the glass from his feet, John heads to the roof to discover the reason Gruber wanted the detonators is that he intends to blow the roof up with the hostages, thus making all the PD on the ground believe he has died while trying to escape. Before informing Al over the radio, Carl and John duke it out in a proper 80s fist fight, with John championing over the large blonde German and hanging him out to dry. John heads to the roof, disperses all the hostages before Hand detonates the place. McClane, narrowly avoiding death, A-Team style, then heads in search of Holly and Hans. After finding them in the vault, John shows Hans and Eddie his secret weapon, killing Eddie with a kick-ass headshot that would make even a Call of Duty player blush. and ending with Hans falling to his death from the building. Action over, the day is saved. Dick Thornburg gets a smack in the nose for being, well, a dick, and Argyle drives them off to the hospital. I hope so the glass can be removed from John's other orifices. And that's our review of Die Hard. There's a few things I forgot to add in there, like the fact that the terrorists do get the vault open and start loading all the loot up into an ambulance. However, Argyle foils this and Theo gets knocked out by him, so Argyle has a little bit of action. But for the purposes of this review, I was trying to keep things sort of short, rounded and sweet, as pretty much everyone in the world's got to have seen Die Hard by now, surely. Now, I grew up watching this movie. It shaped me as a young man, like I'm sure many other young men across the globe, and it made me the smart aleck arsehole I am today, so cheers for that, John McClane. This movie was unique at the time. It broke the mould of conventional action movie making during the 80s, one man against many, which was a new premise at the time, and even today it's been copied numerous times with other movies like Under Siege, Speed, and the most recently Olympus Has Fallen and all those type of movies. But what Die Hard did that was fresh was making our hero emotional, caring, scared and definitely likeable. Not dull and indestructible like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone at the times. John is just an everyman, you know. And right off the bat the script gets us on his side and we're behind McClane all the way, going through all the shit with him. You know, we feel like we get injured along the way with him. The brilliant script writing by Stephen D. Souza and Jeb Stewart, and you combine that with John McTiernan's action direction and his own character development that he seems to weave into each of his movie. It really draws you in and you want to keep watching the film. You know, there's never a dull moment. The dialogue's witty and combined with the actors' performances, it keeps your attention. The action's top notch, like I said, numerous gun battles, jumps from the building's roof, helicopter explosions and elevator shaft exploration. McTiernan here really utilises the space of a building to its fullest, and no stone of the environment is left unturned. It's all just freaking awesome, and you are literally on the edge of your seat throughout the film, and the tagline blown through the back of the theatre wall with this picture is well and truly justified. Both Bruce Willis and Alan Rickman totally knock it out of the park in this movie. Bruce Willis only coming from a few minor guest cameo appearances, absolutely smashes the role of John McClane and has made it his own, easily competing with the likes of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. Alan Rickman in his first feature film performance again just totally kills it, and will go down in history as one of on-screen's top villainous performances, I think, and he was taken from us far too soon, so rest in peace Alan Rickman. Guys, if you haven't seen this movie, take my advice. Kick your girlfriend out of the house, put your comfy slippers on and make yourself a cup of hot chocolate and give this a watch, because this is the definitive Christmas movie. I'm going to go on record and say it. So that's our review of Die Hard. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you on the next review, and until then,